Who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Anna, aka SUKUBRATZ. Yeah, I'm studying art here in Rotterdam, and therefore I am an artist. I like to work with visual art and mixed media, new media. I like to create interactive work. So I like virtual reality or 360 videos, more like immersive works. I like to focus on often socio-political issues or my personal sphere. And yeah, that's my more like visual work. And in terms of audio work, I like to DJ, and I have a lot of fun DJing. Well, I like to DJ post-Latin club or experimental Latin-based music. I started last year, actually, and I really managed to find like the nicest network of artists that I like work with, in the sense that I like to buy their music and showcase it in my mixes. Like I said, I like to play post-Latin club music, also because that's also part of my heritage. I'm Italian and Chilean. For me, growing up, listening to reggaeton and like Latin music was really like iconic for me, and that's why I love to play deconstructed or more experimental versions of those old songs or rhythms. I love to include that too. It's really like it calls me in a way.
I study at Willem de Koning as well. To become an artist, I study graphic design. At the moment, I'm exploring a lot of social projects. And I also have an interest in audio and sound art and sound performance art. Yeah, I'm originally from Amsterdam, but I came here to study. I DJ as well. My DJ name is LARASATI, which is my second name. My parents are Indonesian, but I grew up here. Yeah, the kind of music I play deconstructed club, which is also what you play basically, but it's a very broad term. So yeah, it's I like experimental electronic music, and I try to kind of like push my Indonesian heritage, kind of show it throughout my music as well, playing a lot of very cool artists in contemporary Indonesia, to showcase a lot of Asian artists as well. I forgot. I have a radio show at Stranded FM called Neotropicalism, and it's basically deconstructed club or experimental electronic music, but from non-Western countries. So I focus on a lot of Asian countries, a lot of music from China and Indonesia, as I said, but also like more like post-Latin club, like you play. That's why I invited you. She was a guest at my second show, at my second edition of my radio show. Yeah, I also play a lot of music from Uganda, for example. Yeah, that's my radio show. The next edition is going to be in March, at the end of March, and I have already another very cool guest invited for that as well.
Mm-hmm. So how did you meet?
We met through Instagram.
For sure.
One of us said to the others, "Oh, you play cool music. I like your mixes."
Yeah, actually.
Right?
True, I did that because I remember I found.
How did you find me?
Yeah,
don't know.
Actually, Marvin saw your, my partner saw your Instagram, and he was like, "Oh, she seems cool. Oh, nice music." And I was like, "Oh, let me check it out." And then I checked the mixes, but then I was like, "Oh, cool! Like another female DJ that plays like weird stuff, you know, like because." Personally, I really love what you do, but it's kind of rare in my opinion. So we definitely met up on Instagram virtually, and then we started conversation and we checked each other's music.
Yeah, I checked out what you played and I thought like exactly the same thing. Like, oh, that's cool, and like it's kind of like expected when you're a woman in like the DJ industry that you play chill or like accessible music, and we
normative too.
Yeah, we both kind of like to push it to the extreme, as you heard. Understands. So it was nice to meet someone who was like-minded ideas about music,
and honestly, like I'm so happy we met, because in some way we can identify for each other. And for me, like starting DJing like last year, I really didn't know anybody else that played my my type of music, so I felt really like I'm the weird one in here if I was invited to something. I still feel that maybe, but this definitely like gives me a lot of like energy and motivation too.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that as well, but that's why I created my radio show, because I was like, this is my space and I can play whatever the fuck I want, and I can invite people who I think are cool, and people are just gonna listen to it, you know, like, yeah, because it's on the radio. Like, you don't have to compensate for anyone, and that's really important to me.
So I also had a question, maybe like briefly describe how did you both start with DJing?
I think I started like a bit less than 2 years ago. I was having my gap year and I lived in Indonesia for 3 months, in Yogyakarta. And there happened to be that a lot of my friends were DJs. I was kind of exposed to the nightlife there, and I started organizing like queer parties, like queer underground parties in Jogja. And on the first party that I organized, I said like, okay, well, I organized this, so I'm gonna play. And the first time I actually played live in front of the audience, I had no idea how a DJ desk worked. Like, I was just winging it. I was pretty bad, but I did it, you know. It was kind of like a way for me to challenge myself to do something where I'm not like good at yet in front of an audience, because I would always wait until like, oh, okay, so first I've become good and then I'm gonna show it to the public. That's how I started DJing.
That's kind of like an idea that's kind of pushed of like gatekeeping in a way.
Yeah.
That unless you're professional or like you're already at that point of being good, then you shouldn't. Which actually connects to also my motive behind why I started DJing. I had the idea of DJing like for a really long time, because I'm really like I lived in England before I came here, and I was really like into raves, and I would go party a lot, so I was always like in this club scene, and I wanted to do something more than just being the consumer in a way. So then actually with the first lockdown, yeah, exactly a year ago more or less, I was like, I need to do this now, because now I have the time, now I don't have to go to school. I virtually school, but it's not the same. So I really had the mind space and the physical time to put into practicing. I was already looking on SoundCloud for previously to that, and I was saving a lot of songs that I really liked. So then I bought myself a controller, like really small, to start trying out. Yeah, that's how I started, and then I was like, I'm not great at this, like I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing, but I have fun. So for once in my life, I was like not making myself stressed about it, and instead just fucking do it, and whatever, fuck it, like, you know. Then I made this first mix that's still on my SoundCloud actually, which I thought of taking down because I don't like it, but I'm not going to, because it's there to remember myself kind of. And it was just a mix, like not even beat matching, and I don't know, it was just fade in, fade out with songs. And then I posted that. I made a new account for this. I posted it. I tagged all the artists that I was playing as if it was good, you know what I mean? But then people were following me, and they were like, the artists that I was playing were like engaging, and I was like, what? So it became really like genuine flow, in the sense that like I managed to make this little network online with the people that I like, with the really nice artists. Also because the artists that I want to play, they're most of the time like non-heteronormative. They're like from South America or from other places, but they're Latin. So there's always like this kind of like diversity that I'm like, I kind of look for it, because I don't care about playing techno and commercial stuff. I was really into like just tagging everyone and like liking them, and like it kind of happened that I was like invited for online DJ set or online parties on like Habbo, and which is so cool. Honestly,
yeah,
like these virtual parties, and that's where I played. My first DJ sets were not live at all. They were mainly pre-recorded or on Zoom, and I love that actually.
So what is it about DJing or producing music that you enjoyed the most?
Well, I don't know, it's kind of a difficult question, because I just have a lot of fun doing it. So it's kind of, I don't know what makes it fun for me, but I think one of the rewarding things about it is the network that you build. It's like the people that you meet along the way.
Yeah, I was like, yes. Yes, it's really true.
Yeah, and it's usually like the people that you meet, if you have like a like-minded idea when it comes to music, there's a big chance that you also have a like-minded idea when it comes to life. Like
really true,
right? Like a lot of like the like more experimental artists, like Irene, for example. She's called Gunther Rahler. She's the first one who actually invited me to a radio show. She's like basically the reason why I got my own radio show, because I was invited to her radio show and they liked what I played, so they asked me to host my own radio show. But she's also like queer, like me, like us, and very open-minded and also producing her own music. So for me, the most rewarding about making this kind of music or playing this kind of music is the people that you meet.
For me, it's kind of like I'm like kind of rediscovering my past through the music that I play, because I grew up in Italy, so they were always 10 years behind on music, either pop or anything. Like they were late because it's not part of the culture. So in a way I'm rediscovering, because I'm playing remixes, edits, bootlegs, like all kinds of things of music that I would listen because my mom would play it, not because it was pop at all. Like nobody gave a fuck about reggaeton when I was growing up. Now it's made pop, but it's trash in Italy. So for me it's kind of like a bit of like a personal journey or whatever. You know,
you kind of touch upon it like already, but like how would you describe the club scene in Rotterdam, and how do you kind of like adjust to that in a way?
Well, I can't say much about it because I just moved here, and I moved during lockdown. So maybe you should answer that question actually.
I mean, I moved here like 4 years ago. That was kind of my first impression was kind of like, it's not hard. And there's like this whole stereotype that like literally everyone I tell, oh, I live in Rotterdam, oh, the Gabber vibe, it's dead. Dead in the 90s, like it's gone. Like it's no traces left of that. And it's kind of like, I kind of expected a bit more, but personally I can tell you one great series of club nights is made by Pantropical, which I have worked with before.
Those are actually the ones who invited Gabber Modus Operandi as well. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And many Latin artists, many either pop or, I mean, they're not pop here obviously, but they're pop back home. But for sure Pantropical is like the main place for me where I will go and really have fun.
I feel like they actually align most with our like idea of music, and also they align a lot with like my radio show, like the kind of people they invite and stuff.
For sure. And also, you know, they invite queer people, they invite people of color, they invite black artists. Like they're really on that, they've been on that. You know, there's like this trend going on right now where like places in Rotterdam that have been here for quite some time are now claiming, you know, safe spaces and diversity and inclusion and la la la, when actually it's kind of like recently they're doing this, you know. So another club night that's like a must, and it's really new and it's really young, it's from Cloud Collective. They're like a queer grassroots collective that I think it started like 2 years ago, maybe a bit earlier, but really great job, really great work. They have a magazine, they would have club nights when it was possible, and they really care about like showcasing artists, upcoming artists, and for a diverse artist for a diverse audience. And it's queer, so it's great. It's so fun.
Since you guys are like obviously artists, like do you use your art to express your activism? Like is that a main thing for you?
Yeah, I think it's definitely actually something that I recently discovered, because I just started studying graphic design, is that for me making things that are pretty, it just doesn't do it. You know, like for me, I wouldn't judge like anyone who does it, but for me it's like a vanity project. I mean, do so much effort to making something that I think it's pretty, and then what, you know? Yeah, I do try to like incorporate my activism in my work, and in my future projects I'm definitely planning to do that more as well, and I really hope to somehow get a job out of it as well, to combine maybe design and activism in some way, because it's just like so deeply rooted in me since my parents were political refugees. And also I saw that it was so difficult for my queer friends in Indonesia. So the art that I make and the projects that I make are a lot about like my identity as like a queer immigrant, basically.
Because I study a film mechanic, but my major is photography. I started like 3 years ago. I'm in my third year now. After my first year, I started realizing that photography was not doing it for me. It wasn't enough for me to express myself. So that's why I dived way more into like new media, new media ways of working. So that actually opened up not only like my brain, my eyes, and but a lot of possibilities that I could have not achieved, I feel personally I could have not achieved through my photography. Because my photography work, I like to collaborate with artists and make like pretty pictures. Studio, I love that. It's really great. But then I have way more to express that it's not possible for me to do it in that medium. So
I feel the same.
Yeah.
About, like graphic design.
I made this work that was like a turning point for me in school, and I made like a virtual reality realm, like a space where you would wear the headset and everything. Within the space you could walk around and you could trigger different, let's say, buttons or things that were around you, and from that you could learn about politigrams, for example, which is like politics done on Instagram, which is not such a new concept right now, but back then I found out about this artist that really inspired me to do this, and then I really also found myself a bit within politics or activism anyways. So making that work, which was completely foreign to me, like I never used this game engine to make this. It was like eye-opening and really great. So I moved from that to also 360 videos that I made, for example, about the social uprising that was happening last year in Chile, because my mother lives there and my aunties, my cousins. I was super frustrated about it. It was really scary for me to wake up and check Instagram and it was like tanks, people beating up, like cops beating up like old people, young people, children, doesn't fucking matter. Like it was terrifying, and I, in a way, to make the work that I made helped me to process all of this information and like process this kind of like trauma. Yeah, that was really important for me. So in that way, in that sense, I do like to obviously include activism through my my interactive work.
I guess like the last question. I just want to hear like what are you guys' hope for like the future?
Well, music-wise, my radio show, Stranded FM, was closed for a while because of corona measures, but they're going to reopen again. So what I'm looking forward to is my next edition, which is going to be at the end of March, and I invited this very super cool guest who plays also quite experimental but also a lot of ballroom kind of music. I look forward to that, and my hopes for my DJing career is that we get booked, we can play somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe get even some money from it, but actually that's not like it would be nice. But for me, it should be. Though. It should be. For me, the most important part is that I play somewhere that that really align with my ideas and standards. Yeah. But I think we should, as women, we should get paid also. Yeah. It's no charity. No. This is no charity. So I really hope, that when this entire thing ends, is that we will be able to play live, and I will also be able to play live. Outside of that, there are a few like other radios in the Netherlands that I'm trying to cross off my list, because I've already played at Stranded, at Mutter Studio, at Open Source Radio, and for the rest, I just hope to kind of figure out my way about what I want to do later, and how to combine my activism with my design education
and make money
and yeah.
That's cool.
And I just hope to go to some, I don't know, I kind of hope that the scene here gets a bit more experimental as well.
It will.
I think it will.
Yeah, my hopes for the future is I want the pandemic to be over, or at least like containable in some way. I want to, after my studies, I would love to go to South America. I wanna go to Chile to be with my family and be with my mom and my cat. And I really, I don't know, I made these like virtual connections that I really need to experience, and they happen to be in Chile, but also other countries within South America. So I'm really motivated to go there, and I hope I can tour. I wanna like go everywhere. I wanna see different places. I wanna meet the people that I've been talking to for so long, you know. That's really like a dream of mine. I wanna play in South America for sure. I mean, in terms of studying, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do after I graduate. I might just chill for a bit, see what happens basically. But yeah, I definitely want to have Rotterdam as my base, I feel like, so that I can come back to this place, because it offers a lot actually, in my opinion, coming from Italy. artistically wise, there's so much more to offer here in the Netherlands, because it's a rich country. It comes with the defects, of course, like faults, but anyways, I think that's it. I maybe want to go to New York too and play. There's really sick artists there, like also like with a Latin background, with experimental background, that I would love to play with, or even just witness it.
Actually, we want to go to Taiwan. I heard that the art scene in Taiwan and music scene is really good.
Ah, sick.
Yeah, and also I played for this collective called Club Matryoshka, and they're from the Philippines, from Manila. And I also really want to visit them once the pandemic is over, because they seem to have a really cool scene as well.
With my art, I need to do more. I feel like, because I feel like DJing is a bit more for the stuff that I do with my visuals work. I don't really know where to go yet, but with DJing, I have more objectives that I want to definitely like you were saying, check off.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so weird, actually.
Yeah,
it's more difficult to kind of find your path in like the creative, what you want to become as a creative. That it's like that's more abstract and it's less concrete, and that with DJing you kind of know what you want.
Yeah, it is. I feel the same.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, Corona needs to stop.
Thank you so much.